All right, guys, welcome to everyone who is currently here in this live stream. Real quick test, can you hear our voices? Check one, check one, check one. Can everyone hear us?
You guys hear us? This is Nolar speaking.
All right, people are starting to hear us, so I'll take that as a yes then. All right, guys, so for those of you who haven't seen the Twitter post or anything like that, we obviously posted a Twitter saying, hey, we're going live right now. Any questions that you guys want, though, will be at the end of each section. So this is kind of a test for us being live. So first, we're going to be talking about JP and Global Dokkan. Then we're going to answer your guys' questions, okay? So for anyone who wants to ask a question, the Twitter post that we just retweeted/posted, please leave your questions there because this chat will get way too long and we cannot scroll back up and see the every single question that someone might ask, okay? And obviously, dupe questions or anything like that, okay? So we're going to do that. Then we're going to transfer on over into Legends, and then we'll do questions about Legends, okay? So if you don't have a Twitter account, then I guess this is the perfect time to make a Twitter account. So anything else that I missed, guys, before we go ahead and start the podcast here?
I think that was pretty much everything, right?
Is that pretty much it?
Sufficient.
All right,
yeah.
Cool.
Let's get into it.
All right, cool. All right, so our first topic, first off, welcome, guys. And again, this is a kind of a test to see what a live podcast is like. So if you guys prefer just the video podcast or you prefer the live podcast, which then obviously this will go live on the channel afterwards as just a video, let us know your thoughts in the chat right now or just in the comments if you are watching this later, which one you prefer, okay? So first off, we're going to be talking about Dokkan Global. Okay, so we're going on the global side of things, and then we're going to transfer over to the JP. So as always, we have Goresh. Goresh, go ahead and say hello.
Hey guys, what's going on?
We got Nolar.
What's going on, everyone?
And Speedy.
Yo, what's up, guys?
All right, so obviously Speedy and Goresh are going to be the main global contenders here, and then Nolar and I are on the JP side. It's not that we prefer one over the other or think one's better than the other, or we might have our personal biases maybe, but overall it's just simply that's the version of the game we play mainly, and that's just where we're going to be having our thoughts for. So anyway, onto the global side of things. First up, global, you finally got the second step up LR banner that JP got back during Golden Week when the Emperor was changing over here. So it's kind of a big moment over here, and I guess you guys got it for, I guess, technically Thanksgiving? What are you guys' thoughts on that? I guess first off, Speedy and Goresh, thoughts on the banner. Did you summon on it? Did you skip it? What are your thoughts for the general public?
As for me, I feel like the banner is great, especially if you're a free-to-play player or don't buy like many stones for the game. It's great to summon on. You're guaranteed an LR. You're guaranteed, a category leader. You're guaranteed an EZA unit, a super leader, extreme leader. And yes, I did summon on it, but I do regret it since I realized I'm kind of a whale on global, and I had all the units I summoned for. So I do regret spending the stones, but it's actually great for a lot of players, especially 90% of the player base. I say so.
Yeah, so I think the thing with the step up banner is it sort of saved part 2 of the celebration. Because I think a lot of people were really upset about what happened in part 2. I know that we got the LR Trunks and my / Goku Black banner, and obviously not the best banner. People are not going to be summoning on that banner, right? So I think it sort of saved the overall celebration. And personally, I did not summon because I have pretty much everything rainbowed except for LR Trunks and and then not really worth it for me. But I think for a lot of people, aka 99% of the people who play global, you should definitely be summoning because this is the banner that you've all been waiting for.
I was hunting freaking Beerus, man. I haven't pulled him yet, so that's what I was hunting.
Yeah, Beerus is a good one.
Well, coming over on the JP side, Nolar, did you even summon on it? I don't think you did, because again, you generally rainbow your LRs, but a lot of people over here on the JP side, when we got that back in May, were very, very hyped for it.
Yeah, I don't think I did. I might have just for the funds of it, but I don't think I did. But yeah, if you're not me or like Truth, who like rainbows a bunch of stuff all the time, this value on the step up banners is just immense. Like you should probably summon on it if you can spare the stones.
Yeah, definitely. Because I remember we got Trunks and the AGL Zamas banners out, and then it wasn't even announced in the news or anything. Like, it just popped up. Just popped up right there. So, and we're like, oh, okay, guaranteed LR step up banner, and we all remember it from the
New Year's.
the New Year's celebration. So we're like, okay, well, I guess that's gonna happen. Now this time was only one go through, and that was it. Where I think New Year's it was 2 times you could go through the
Two
banner.
rotations.
Okay, was that the same on global, guys?
Yeah, so it's literally a copy paste of the JP one. But something
Okay.
else too is this. So Global had like that announcement. It was like special announcement of like a banner coming in for like a event or something. I
Mhm.
believe that this step up banner was the banner they were talking about, and then the event was for Dokkan Now, which I think we'll talk about in a little bit. But I think that was the reason for this banner coming.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so that makes sense then. That makes sense. All right. So then, is there any other kind of things to talk about then when it comes to those things, or are we all good there?
Just make sure you guys summon on the banner.
Do not summon on the friends banner. I'll tell you that right now. I just did 100 freaking multis not too long ago. The worst time of my life, dude.
I've
terrible.
been hearing that it's not the greatest. It's not the
No,
greatest.
it's
So.
not. It's definitely not.
All right. So that's good. All right, so then moving on. So since Goresh kind of mentioned it, this Dokkan Now thing. So if you guys haven't looked in the news on the global side of the game, or maybe you haven't hopped on over to DBZ Space or anything, if you main JP like we do, but we see the news updates and everything still. Supposedly on the 4th, I think it's like a Wednesday or something like that. There is something called Dokkan Now that I guess Global Dokkan is advertising for. Goresh, Speedy, any updated information on that you know of?
I heard it's gonna be a YouTube channel where they're gonna do like live broadcasts and basically do the same thing they did for like the anniversaries. That's what I'm assuming it's going to be like.
Yes, I don't think it's going to be live. I think it's going to
You don't think
be
it's gonna be live?
no. I think it's going to be a pre-recorded video, and like it's sort of like what Legends just did.
Mhm.
At least that's what I'm getting is where they update. They upload like a 10-minute long video about stuff that they're planning on doing, stuff that's in the works, just to keep people in the loop about what's coming. But what's interesting to me is that if you play Global Dokkan, you pretty much know everything that's coming to the game. So I don't really understand the point of this unless they're going to be showing off stuff that's not in the JP version. So I expect to see stuff in this video that they're going to upload soon that people don't know about. That's not on the JP version and possibly going to be exclusive to the global version for the time being. So that could be interesting.
So
I have another question
global
about
first,
the.
essentially, right?
Yeah, possibly. That would be cool.
Okay. What were you gonna say, Speedy?
So you know how Legends had who was it? Rhymestyle and Kagi have come on the video. Do you think
Yes.
that
Yeah, they were
Dokkan
out
might
here. They
do
were out here in
like
Japan, and they did their thing, I guess.
kind of the same route? Maybe Dokkan does. They could like fly over some Dokkan YouTubers.
Yeah, I mean that'd be cool, right? They have like community leaders up in the video. I don't really know if that's what they would do the first time. I mean, obviously the game's been out this is approaching the fifth year of the game being out. But I mean, it's about time they started interacting more with the community, in my opinion. So it would be cool if they did that. Yeah, I agree.
Well, I don't think they'd have to fly. They wouldn't have to fly out people to Japan. They would, because Banda has offices all over the world. So I mean, I don't know if they'd fly people out to the UK, headquarters or somewhere in America. So I mean, because again, this is to the global version of the game. So I wouldn't see the point of trying to fly them over to Japan if you're not going to advertise the JP version of the game. If you're going to advertise the global version of the game, then do it where people actually probably recognize it.
Yeah. Speaking on what Goresh was talking about, that this might be like global exclusive stuff because are they going to show off like Piccolo at Dokkan Fest? Like, I mean, like aside from that, like it has to be global first stuff to do, and even then, it would only have to be pretty infrequent, like pretty rare to have them to show it up, in my opinion, because otherwise they would have done something similar on the JP side as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I was saying, it doesn't really make sense to show off stuff that they've already like done on the JP version because we know about that stuff already, right? They're not that dumb.
Well,
we
I
hope
mean,
we hope
we
so.
are
We hope
like
so.
we are like the 1% of people that like know or are aware of both sides of the game, right? There are people that play global that have no clue what goes on at JP, right? So
Yeah, that is true.
like we were talking about this, I think last week or a couple weeks ago. It could have been just like 99% of the player base has no clue what's coming up next, or they don't know when to save stones. They just buy whenever it comes out, when sales come up. So, I mean, as much as I was poo-pooing the idea of like, oh, showing off Piccolo, I mean, it's not a bad idea.
Well, I mean, for their first video, they better not show off Piccolo. That's all I'm gonna say. That's not a good way to start, bro. It's just
Oh god. I mean, I think the only way that showing off Piccolo is a quote unquote good thing, using air quotes here, is if they show some global exclusive stuff and then maybe say, oh, by the way, here's a little sneak preview of what's maybe coming after that in, I don't know, January, February time or whatever, right? Because in their minds, they're probably thinking like, oh, we're showing something off. And some people will get excited for Piccolo. There are people that actually really do like that. But I think most people are going to be like, okay, whatever, Piccolo. Unfortunately, because most people won't summon for him because it's even hard to find friends as it is. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think in a way, even if they like, even if what they show off was not like super like hyped or anything, I think just the act of like creating this channel for global exclusively is good, because I think a lot of people have this notion that global is always quote unquote shafted. So I think maybe this is gonna have like a lasting effect on the player base, and like, I don't know, just sort of comfort them and make them feel like they're more welcome to play the game on the global version. That's just what I've been thinking.
Well, I think their first step they need to do is finally just stop using Facebook.
Yeah, or use Facebook and Twitter.
All the boomers are on Facebook, bro. Leave it alone. Okay.
I mean, no, because the thing I don't understand is why choose Instagram over Twitter?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
sure either.
We'll have to wait and find out what's happening. So, all right. So I guess going off of that then as well. Currently right now, Global, you are in your kind of thank you celebration still, but
somebody
some
says
people
there's
are.
a sound popping up. Is Mike?
Oh yeah, someone's sound is popping. I don't know.
That's probably mine. Hold on, I'll try to fix it. But keep going, guys.
Okay. So as Goresh tries to fix that then. So as of right now, Global, you are kind of, I guess, finishing up your thank you celebration. But a lot of people have been asking where the Tanabata banner is. And I guess we can kind of combine these 2 points that we have on our post right here. Where a lot of people are calling this like they're the most disappointed in Global in quite a while. Like everyone's calling big Global shaft because it wasn't the Tanabata banner. Everyone wanted to use their red coins for the LR Go Bros, the LR Super Saiyan 4s. And all Global got was, I mean, obviously the step up banner was kind of saved it a little bit, but all it was a Trunks and Goku Black banner, which, you know, I understand because last year at this time is when Global did get the Tanabata banner / thank you banner. But in terms of the celebration itself with Trunks and Zamasu, it's basically what JP got. JP, we got a Beerus banner, which everybody skipped. So what are your thoughts on that, Speedy, as someone who, again, mains Global?
I still think there's a possibility of the thank you banner coming to Global. I think maybe in like a week. But personally, even if it does come out, I say it's a skip for Global players because there's gonna be something big as hinted by. I think D3's been hinting like there's gonna be something big and also rhyme style for like the past week on Global for Christmas. So you guys have been seeing that at all?
I personally haven't seen any of that, or whatever information is.
Whatever banner comes to Global from like now till Christmas, as it's a big skip.
I think if we do get the Tanabata banner on Christmas, it's definitely a skip, and that's what I've been saying that since the beginning of this month. But I think the value from the Tanabata banner is not the actual banner itself, but it's the fact that you can use the coins to get the Dokkan Fest LR. So I know a lot of people were upset when Part 2 was revealed, and there wasn't the Tanabata banner because a lot of people were like, oh, I've saved my red coins for Go Bros or LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku or Vegeta, and now they're not here, so I guess I'll spend them on something else. Where it's like, no, you still want to save just in case it comes in the beginning of December or something. So I don't know.
Well, I think
exactly what you said. If you have coins, red coins, and the Tanabata banner comes around, you spend those coins on Go Bros or Super Saiyan 4s.
Yeah.
Right. I was about to say that as well. I'm like, at least, the one positive thing here is that I know a lot of Global players see this as the Global shaft and everything. But in the end, the moment that Tanabata banner comes, obviously don't summon on it, but you can then use your red coins. And I doubt there's anybody that, is like, oh my gosh, I can't beat anything without grabbing this LR, right? everything in the game right now is beatable with free-to-play units. So again, it's more the collective aspect of, right? You want to make that team. You want to use this uber hyped card that you have seen, YouTubers use and everyone else use for quite a while now, and now you're like, it's my turn. I want to use it, right? So it will come. It will come. Just hopefully they don't make you wait too much extra longer. But then the moment it does come, snag it with your red coins, save up for whatever potentially is going to come in Christmas. We're all assuming some kind of, again, Dokkan global first thing like they did with Hit last year. But again, we'll have to wait and see whatever this Dokkan Now thing has, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a rehash of Hit 2.0.
Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta.
Can you imagine they just drop one on global first? That would be insane.
Bro, I don't know. D3 kind of like hinted very like strictly at me. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. He was at Bandai recently, so I don't know. Man knows something.
All right. So anything else then on the global side of things then? I think we've covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think because we have almost to let you guys know, we have a point here that said most disappointed in global in a while. I think we sort of talked about that already, but people were like super upset when the part 2 info first came out. But I think the step up banner kind of saved that a little bit, and now people are a little bit less upset about it. But I think the lack of the thank you banner is still sort of there, like the feeling of the thank you banner not being there, because a lot of people were saving up their coins for that specifically, and now that it's not there, it's like, okay, well, do I spend my coins now on Turles or whatever? So I don't know. That's what I've been thinking.
Well, I think if you're somebody who is saving your coins for nothing but an LR, you're gonna save them no matter what, right? It's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen right there.
Yeah,
but again, we'll have to wait and see potentially what happens, because I mean, it's at least in Japan right now, it's December 1st already. So only 3 more days until this Dokkan Now thing, and then I'm assuming whatever happens, that's what everyone's gonna start to be hyped about. That's what everyone's gonna be talking about, and so we'll have to see what happens. So
yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then, why don't we go ahead and transition on over to the JP side of things? Who I think definitely got something we weren't expecting, and a lot of people have been skipping it. And if you are on the global side and you don't know what we're talking about, we are, of course, talking about the Android 13 Dokkan Fest that we just got. The transformation Android 13. Nolar, you actually summoned. I have skipped this banner completely 100%. Thoughts on it?
I mean, it dropped 2 days ago, I think. So I've only got a little bit of time to play with him. Honestly, he's a good card. Like, he's not, what's really the most difficult part about it, unless, because we just got cooler, whatever was going to come in after was always going to be a disappointment in comparison, right? So if we didn't have cooler, everyone would say, hey, Android 13 is a pretty decent card, and the category is pretty good too. It's not amazing, but it's pretty decent. Although I don't know why he's another Android's lead, but we'll talk about that later. But I honestly, he's a good card. It's just I think what makes it really difficult is the fact that we just had Cooler, who had an active transformation. So he was a support, and then you could decide to keep him as support or turn him into one of the hardest hitters. So yeah, is that better?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. So the most what makes it weird for 13 is he just transforms. You just got to have at least 2 androids, and I think it's after the 5th turn. So he is a support. He's kind of similar to Cooler in the sense that he is a support pre-transformation, and then post-transformation, he hits pretty hard. Not like super hard, but he's a good damage dealer. But the fact that you can't choose when to make him one or the other, he always transforms when you fulfill the restrictions, then I don't know, he just seems a little meh coming straight after Cooler.
Yeah, especially because Cooler gives you that choice to, if you want to, you can keep both STR Coolers untransformed as support units, especially down the road when somebody initially, eventually surpasses him. Or you can transform one, keep another as a support off rotation. It gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of how you run that team and on that particular battle. Whereas Android 13, I think a lot of people are actually comparing him to the Into Future Gohan, it's kind of the same thing. He's a support unit first, but then he automatically transforms, and he just goes into an all-out attacker, basically. So.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons that reduces the hype a bit about Android 13 is obviously you guys have already said he came after Cooler, which is like basically like whatever comes after Blue Gogeta is always going to suck, right? But this guy feels like he was made a long time ago. His SA animations are cool, but they're not like even close to Cooler level. He has good stats. Like he has, I think I saw a video of somebody using him at Rainbow level, and he had like 200,000 defense on his team, which is obviously ridiculous. But I don't know. It just are people really going to summon for Android 13 right before the end of the year? Like, there's no way. We also didn't really have any like leaks or V-jump scans or any of that stuff leading up to this. So this guy sort of just came out of the blue. A lot of people were speculating, including us, that we might get a Dragon Ball Heroes Dokkan Fest, and that didn't happen. So I don't know. I think a lot of people were expecting something like super hype to be coming, and then they drop Android 13, and it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna wait. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think because what is it when Android 13 transforms, he gets 130. He still keeps that 130% attack and defense, and then for every target Goku category allies with you, you get what 16 or 17% attack and defense or something like that. Regardless, that's what gives him all of that. And generally, you'd want to run him as are on an Android team that is also, luckily enough, most of the Androids are in that target Goku category as well. So it kind of works out that way. But if for some reason you're running him on, say, a movie bosses category, or you're running him on a different category that maybe you don't have a ton of target Goku category allies on that particular team, he starts to not look as impressive. Whereas, again, we're always going to be going back to Cooler. Cooler doesn't need that. He gets 180% attack and defense, and he infinitely stacks his attack. And he gets auto crit against most of the events in the game.
70% of the events. Someone calculated it.
Yeah. And then also like the fact that everyone was sort of expecting an Android 13 to be the artificial life forms leader too.
Oh my god, such a huge missed opportunity. What the heck, Akatsuki?
Yeah, I mean, artificial life form is a really good category. It would be a very fun team to run if it had a proper lead.
It needs a lead. My gosh. I mean, the only two leads we have right now are both LRs. One of them being a free-to-play LR, granted, but it's only 100%, which is kind of whatever. And then the LR baby. So it's like, where's our official one? And yet we have 4 or 5 Android leads right now. So
yeah, there's way too many. I mean, we have the Android 17, the Ranger 17 Dokkan Festival unit.
Yep.
We have Android 21, who's available in every banner ever released. Who else? We have the physical LR androids who were released like 3 months ago or something, 4 months ago.
Yeah, 3 months ago.
And now we have this one.
And then we have this one. And then he's not. I know he's not only androids, and there are a few that are left out due to just their timeline and everything. But most of the Android cards are also part of the Cell Saga / Android Saga category, so you can kind of run them on that team as well. Obviously, you're still going to miss out on some of the like Ranger 17 and other cards like that, but a good chunk of the Android category itself is into LR Cells category, so you can kind of make that a leader as well. So we'll call it like a 4.5 essentially. So,
yep, agreed.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I think he's a good card, and if you really like Android 13, which I know some people really do, go ahead and summon. And the banner's like actually not that bad because
it's not
Piccolo's
bad
back
banner.
For the first time. And I mean, again, Piccolo's a defensive monster. If you guys ever seen the showcases or ever used him, he's just awesome as a defensive unit. And MVP 17's back, and I mean, granted, I've hated MVP 17 because he just keeps showing up when he doesn't want to be, when I don't need him. Yeah, the banner's not terrible, and it's good if you need a couple of those units, but again, I guess for the most people, it's a skip. And even I didn't rainbow him. I just got my 2 dupes and I'm out.
To touch up on the artificial life form stuff, do you think it's going to be Kid Buu since the Buu saga could be done next? I feel like it's what they're waiting for.
It could be, I guess. I just hope that if it is Kid Buu, I just hope that they actually give him a key passive, because that dude sucks for key. Oh my god.
I just think they need to rework a lot of the Majin like links, and then everything would be okay. It's just like the
God, when was
Majin
the
links are
last
all
time they updated
so
those
bad.
links? Yeah, when was the last time they updated like links in
Links?
general?
Like 3 years ago or something.
Yeah,
Oh
2,
my
3 years
God.
ago, like literally 2, 3 years ago.
Come on, can we finally up Kamehameha from 2,500 to like even just 10% or something?
Even like 3% is better than that. Like
Yeah,
1% is
seriously.
better than that.
1% is better than 2,500.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
god. So,
I think like there's going to be another quality of life update at some point when when there's a bit of a lull.
Yep.
And I think key links will be like a big part of that, just to put it to the current meta.
well, one thing that you actually just remind me of, since you're saying quality of life updates, is what was it, like 2 weeks ago or something like that? We got a news update about version 4.8, and then we got the update of 4.7. So we know some kind of 4.8 update is coming. That, by the way, spoiler alert, kind of somehow it takes away transfer codes essentially from what I translated. So I don't know if that would be. I mean, that would be a good time to do it, I think. But we'll have to see what kind of, what that brings essentially. So
Yeah, agreed. I think that's moving in the right direction because it gets rid of all those like useless reroll accounts that are just sitting on everyone's friends list and like preventing you from running like actual leaders as your friends.
well,
Right.
it's the friend system still needs an update. They need to make it so that when you're searching for a category, you can at least find a 55% SA10 leader of that particular category. It needs to happen. It needs to happen.
Well,
None of
they
this,
should just
no orbs or anything into the unit. They at least have 55%.
they should just do a system where you get a duplicate of your leader.
Yeah,
Oh, that
a
would be
mirror of
so
what you have.
nice. That would be awesome. That would be
Yeah.
awesome. I would
Yeah,
love
the
that.
getting rid of transfer codes is it's for the most part it's for that secondary market of like reroll accounts and selling that. But I think the other thing, the main reason is there are people who like use good transfer codes and it just doesn't transfer. So it would cut away from Bandai's support team to like, oh, I used a transfer code, it didn't work. Can you get my account back? And okay, send me some purchase receipts, blah 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 blah. It would completely
Yeah.
get rid of that because then you rely on either Game Center on iOS or Google accounts on Android. And I still think they're keeping Facebook, which is a more universal um, system. So
Right.
so-
Yeah, definitely.
There you
All
go.
right. So then moving away from the Android, which Android 13 is obviously part 1. What do you guys think is coming for part 2/Christmas? Because generally we get some kind of I feel it's the only time we get it now, is a double rate Rising Dragon Carnival banner. Yeah, last year it introduced LR Trunks in Mai. What do you think could potentially be happening this Christmas? Obviously, we're still going to probably say to the majority of the people, especially free to play players, to skip it. What do you think?
Lots of
Could possibly happen?
speculations on LR Goku absorb Spirit Bomb because there's been assets in the game file, especially the story event of Goku that actually, has the absorb Spirit Bomb and he's like kicking Android 13's ass. So I don't know, could happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of the times when we see those assets in the actual story events and like in other places in the game, usually that means there's probably something coming on the horizon. But we were saying that about Bye Guys Goku, right, for the 300 million download celebration, and that obviously never happened. So I'm kind of hesitant to say like, oh yeah, 100% he's coming. But I think there is a really high chance of this happening. So I definitely would keep my eyes out for that.
Yeah,
I think that
especially
that Goku is probably made though. I feel like that instant transmission Goku is probably made, but they decided not to release it for some reason.
because
Possibly, I don't
because
know.
we totally needed another Android lead, right?
yeah.
Oh my god. So, but no, I had to agree with Goresh on that. I think that even though we have, we obviously it's in the files in terms of the story mode and everything like that. don't necessarily get your hype up until things are basically confirmed, because again, we've seen this before where, hey, we see some new picture or something from a story mode and then nothing happens. So, yeah, eventually down the line it could easily happen. Just again, keep in mind that not necessarily it could happen. So,
Yeah, I mean, how long is the celebration lasting?
It's only until the 12th or something like that, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's when they'll introduce the double raid spanner, Rising Dragon Carbonal. That will last about 2 weeks. If that's the 12th, that'll take it to the 26th, 27th, which is usually when they'll drop a dual Dokkan Fest event before New Year's.
Before New Year's,
So,
yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so that's exact. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not, like you guys said, it could be this new Goku. I'm not holding my breath. I'll wait till I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, all right, and then the final thing for JP right now, before we start going into your guys' questions, and then we'll transfer it over into Legends, the big man himself, which I don't think anyone saw coming just as quite early, EZA Super Vegito, AGL.
You mean the best unit in the game?
He better, okay, I don't care what anybody says, this dude better be busted. I want him to overshadow Injanimba, I want him to overshadow LRs, I don't care. Make this guy busted. Just do it, Akatsuki. Just do it.
You know what I've been wondering?
Boost, right?
If they literally did nothing and they just left him as he was, but just gave him EZA stats, how good would he be? I want to see somebody like do that in a video. Like I want to see somebody just leave him at leave the passive as it is, leave the super attack as it is, but obviously bump it up to SA level 15 and give him the EZA stats. But like I wonder how good is he just as he is? Like is he good enough to just like for them to literally just do nothing to him?
Yeah, Hydros can do that. He's done that
Yeah,
before.
I'll say, Hydros, man, where are you? Get on it, man.
Yeah, I honestly, if they just gave him 50% attack, kept him exactly the same, so what is it, 80% damage reduction on normal attacks, I think he'd just be like super, super good.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, 50% attack and reduction on basic attacks and super attack.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy. Best unit of the game. I'm telling you right now.
Well,
I'm already seeing people in the chat right now just being like, don't give him the full power Frieza treatment.
Oh, no.
Well, that's also like it's sort of because I actually did a video talking about the Super Vegeta EZA, but like their philosophy towards EZAs has changed so much over like the course of like this feature being available. Because if you take a look at Full Power Frieza, they literally just added like what 30% defense if you're in the first slot or something. That's it. And then they added like more defense on the super attack, and that was it. They didn't change his attack at all. They didn't change whatever. But the guy's busting out like 4 million attack stats. Like if you have him in an optimal rotation. So you look at Injanemba and they're like, oh, this guy's going to be busted. He has the guard against all attacks thing in his passive. But, regardless, we're just going to give him, dodges, attack, like 8% attack. And the guy's hitting for like 3 million and like takes no damage from anything. And it's like, where was this for full power Frieza?
Right. So, yeah. So it's again, it goes back to that theory I've always had about one team's making this opponent or a card or doing this to this, and another team's doing this. So, or again, like you said, Goresh, just simply their theories changed because Janemba came out after Frieza, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's almost like Frieza was the last one that had that first that first thinking process of how EZA should be made, and then it changed, and then all of a sudden you've got Injanemba, STR Gogeta, the STR Omega, Shenron, all those cards are just, they're insane. So
yeah, it's like I think at a certain point they were just like, yeah, whatever, we'll just make them like insanely busted, like they don't care anymore.
Yeah.
So they could literally just make this if they gave this Vegito like I think it would be cool to give this guy a support functionality in his passive because he doesn't need to be doing more damage himself, but that's just me. I think if they just gave him like something like that and then maybe like 30% attack, I think he'd be like the best hero in the game.
Oh, we still have our physical Vegito. Hopefully, that's gonna get his EZA eventually.
Oh yeah,
That-
let's not
that-
talk about him. That's going to be a different story. For him, no, for him, they're going to have to nerf his passive.
Yeah.
Oh
on
God. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. If they have to make one card the best in the game, fine. Make it physical Vegito. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the AGO, I didn't expect him to come this soon. I think everyone here is kind of thrown off by like already. Like we thought it would be for the 5-year celebration or 5-year anniversary, or like maybe for New Year's. But now I think they did that because Android 13 and himself wasn't a very hype celebration. So they're like, we gotta keep it going. And
Right.
here with the
Exactly.
Masses EGO, Super Vegeta, EZA. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, again, we'll have to wait and see what exactly that's gonna happen. But let's hope. Let's definitely hope. So. All right.
The nation got me, bro.
Yeah. All right. Anything else to talk about before we get into the questions in terms of Dokkan, and then after the questions we'll go into Legends. Anything else you guys want to mention or?
I think
nothing
we
off the top of
pretty
my
much
head.
covered everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, this is kind of the test area for those of you guys who are live with us right now. We have a few questions that we pulled from Twitter already. So if you guys want to ask questions, post it on the Twitter post that we posted right as this stream started about 40 minutes ago at the time of the stream. Maybe we'll snag a couple from the comments as well. But again, comments just they go in really, really fast, so we're not able to catch them all. So the first question we have though is from, and again, sorry if we butcher names, or especially me, I'm bad with names sometimes. So the first question comes from YOLO Siag, I think. Do you think there's a chance for Shallot to appear in Dokkan?
The only way that could happen is if they did like a crossover event with Legends. But then if we get Shallot, what does Legends get from Dokkan? We don't have. There's no unique original character,
Yeah,
right?
there's nothing unique from that.
A
So.
better coin system. That's what they can get from Dokkan.
Okay, let me just read the second question because it ties into this one.
Oh, that's true.
From Crimson Kid, I guess. So do we think that Dokkan will be collaborating with another mobile game similar to how they did with Treasure Cruise in 2016? So I actually have a little bit of information about this. From what I've heard, it's really not like a good idea for them to do that, and there's a reason why we haven't seen other collaborations since then. I don't really know the details, but I just heard that it wasn't good for Dokkan, and at the end of the day, whether or not they lost money because of it or people just like didn't like it or whatever. I don't know. It's really not an easy thing to do either. Like collaborating with another game, it's like I said. There's a reason why we haven't seen them do more of that, and I think that's sort of foretelling in what we'll see in the future. And I don't think we'll see another. I don't think we'll see another collab like that again.
Yeah. So with my experience with a bunch of different gacha games, Dokkan is so unique in the sense that besides that one collab with Treasure Cruise, it doesn't have collabs. And every other gacha game I played, for the most part, like they live and thrive off collabs because it brings in hype, brings in new players and stuff like that. It's because Dragon Ball in itself is such a strong IP that they don't need to collab with other IPs to like hype up Dokkan. So like I think I don't necessarily think Treasure Cruise lost them money. I just don't think it was worth the effort because they didn't get that much more money out of collabing with Treasure Cruise. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So for me, like I don't think we'll ever see any more collabs with Dokkan. I mean, even with Legends, like I said, Legends has Shallot, which is their unique original character, but I don't. What does Dokkan have to offer that? Like it has nothing. So I don't think they're ever gonna. Well, we might just see Shallot if just for fun, maybe. Like I'm not too sure, but it wouldn't be in a collaboration style event. And yeah, I don't think we'll ever see Dokkan collab with another IP because we just don't need it. We
Yep.
hit top
Okay.
grossing without it.
Probably, exactly. All right, so then the next question comes from Cosmic Caper, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Does Dokkan need a 2.0 update like how Legends is getting theirs?
I don't know.
I'm assuming he's referring to all of these big changes that Legends is bringing in. So we'll talk about this more when we're going to transfer it over to Legends, but the guild system, the co-op modes, balance changes, things like that. Does Dokkan need something like that?
I think as of right now, I don't think so. I feel like Dokkan's doing fine as it is.
I mean, aside from links, obviously
Well,
update some of those really old links.
Well, I think
know.
we have to think about what is a 2.0 quote unquote update mean in terms of like
Right.
even Legends for like because like Legends is much more intricate than Dokkan is. They have obviously their main thing is PvP,
Right.
and if they're gonna sort of expand beyond that into like co-op and stuff, I mean, I guess Dokkan could do that as well and do like a co-op thing, but would that constitute them getting quote unquote a 2.0 update? Because I don't think that's enough for Dokkan. We've been going for 5 years already. Is adding one more event going to change that to be like sort of a new game thing? I don't know.
I feel like if the only thing they can revamp is probably the World Tournament, kind of make it maybe somehow co-op-ish.
Yeah,
But
I
other
mean,
than that, I don't know.
like when Battlefield released for the first time, was that 2.0 Dokkan? Like, I don't know. Like, is that big enough of an update to consider it a 2.0 thing? I don't know.
Which,
Again,
funny
I
enough,
think
we
it's
now
subjective.
call Battlefield 2.0. Like
Yeah.
for the
Mhm.
for the
Yeah,
last
first
21
Battlefield
times
was,
it's returned, it's been called Battlefield 2.0 now. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
mean,
I don't know if it will really happen or not. So I mean, I
it's
don't
yeah.
particularly see it well. I mean, again, hopefully they would somehow find a way to rebalance the world tournament or / change it up because I really don't do it that much anymore myself. I don't know.
I
Let
think
us know
I
your thoughts
think
on both the
to
comments, guys.
I think if they were to make a 2.0 update to Dokkan, they would have to completely change the way like the orb system works. And by orb system, I mean like collecting key spheres, like the
Oh,
fundamental
The
aspect of
fundamental
that game.
gameplay, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
and
would which I don't
don't
see
think
them
they would do
doing.
that
No,
at this
Yeah, I
I
point.
don't
don't
think
see
they
them doing
need
that.
to.
No, they really don't. So
Because I think there's like one of the big differences between Dokkan and Legends is the way the development team actually like implements updates to the games. For Legends, it's more like all at once. It's like super intense. Like everything is different. Like new modes, like different systems, stuff like that. But for Dokkan, it's like they have gradual quality of life stuff. Like everything's changing over time. It's more like one at a time, sort of slowly moving. So I don't really think they would ever do that all at once thing for Dokkan.
no, I don't think they would do that at all. So I mean, like their biggest quote unquote change was when we got new summon animations along with a couple of bug fixes and some link changes, and that was it, right?
Yeah,
So
I mean, I think the biggest fundamental change we've ever had in Dokkan was the introduction of the dupe
pistol
system.
system. Yeah.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Like that completely changed the game, but it wasn't really a complete revamp, like a 2.0 update. It was just like a real big new system. But I think that fundamentally changed how we played the game.
Mhm.
So I don't see anything similar to that coming in the horizon. I mean, the only thing I could think of, like this is a single player game, even though we have World Tournament, it's really just a single player game. The only other thing I could think of is like guilds, raid battles, like that kind of stuff. But I mean, we already had those like easy bosses, and they're okay. Um, I don't know. They could maybe do something with that, but I don't see any huge change. Just unlike what we had with the potential system.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest thing we ever got. I agree.
Okay. All right. So I'm scrolling through some of the. If you guys want to pop on over to the Twitter, I guess thread real quick that I posted when we went live and everything. If you guys want to pick out any extra kind of questions for yourselves, because we've covered a lot of these questions that are being asked. We kind of covered already. A lot of people asking about Dragon Ball Heroes Dokkan Fest. If we think, things like, do you think hero cards will be put into the general pool? If we get a Dokkan Fest card. A lot of Dokkan YouTubers are alluding to something huge on global. We kind of talked about that already.
Mm-hmm.
Someone does ask, what kind of quality of life changes would we like to see in the game next for Dokkan?
Better friend system.
Better friend system, 100%. A lot of
Yeah,
people
friend
actually I'm
system.
seeing in the chat right now also asking about what if they add a new type? I don't know if that would
Like
really do anything. That wouldn't really do much, would it?
They already have a balanced type system, so how would that work? Would it be like a dark type like Legends where it's just good against every type? Like
I guess a
I don't
dark and a light type, but I don't know how that much that would affect the game.
that wouldn't
Yeah.
work, I don't think, because like even Legends has those typings in the game, but they don't release characters of those typings because it would just be unbalanced.
Yeah, well, like Shallot's he's the only character we can use that is he's a light character if I remember correctly. Yeah, he's a light character.
Yeah, and he sucks. So
He sucks though, right? Like you rarely see people take him into
like PvP, yeah.
PvP or anything like that. So he's mostly meant for those story events that require those extra missions for him to snag you those 3 extra crystals or whatever, or it helps you if you're more of a newer player on those, quote unquote harder PvE style events. So
I mean, the whole neutral typing in Legends, I think, is really nice for a PvE challenge. I don't think they could ever balance it in PvP in the rest of the game. So I think it's nice for PvE, but for a Legends focused PvP content, there's a reason they haven't released actual cards with that neutral typing.
Yeah, agreed.
all right, anything else you guys want to snag from the comments, or should we transfer on over to Legends?
Oh, somebody
yeah,
said.
no, this is a good point. Someone mentioned, because I remember they actually talked about this in a survey, I think like a few months ago now.
Mhm.
An item that allows you to refresh stamina instead of using stones, and I think that's very similar to what we've seen in Legends with like the energy tickets and stuff. And I don't know if you guys remember, but they talked about that in a survey. I think they actually talked. They said like, would you guys like be interested in an item that like could restore your stamina? So I don't know. That could be cool.
I would definitely be okay with that. I mean, I'm still in the belief that I know that they give energy tickets out like no tomorrow now in Legends finally, but I still say their energy system needs a little bit of work. Because it's really annoying to use up 10 stamina, and then it feels like half the time I'm just using energy tickets instead of actually, going into the events and using my stamina to do the events or whatever it is. And maybe that's partly on the skip tickets that they have. It'd be the same thing even if they bumped it up to 20 or 30. I'd be using 30 skip tickets instead of 10, and but I don't know. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on that, but I would definitely like to see some kind of energy ticket system in Dokkan as well. Mostly because I've got a 200 plus stamina bar and.
Well, I think the big thing about that with Dokkan especially is that if you're a new player, there is now like so much to do in the game. Like there's so many events, there's so much to farm up, there's so much to do, like summoning and all this stuff. You're never gonna have enough stamina to do everything if you don't have any way to refresh it other than using stones, which people are very reluctant to do. So I think especially for new players, it would help out a lot to have that.
I think it would be, yeah.
Well, my stance is I've played other gacha games, and they usually give like free energy every day at like a certain time. And the whole point is they want you to log in and get into the game, in which there's a higher chance of you spending money. So I am honestly really surprised that Dokkan doesn't have any energy tickets or gives out free stam every day at like a certain time. It just doesn't make any sense to me why Dokkan doesn't do that. Like with Legends, their stamina system, I don't like it because I'm more of a PvE player than a PvP player. But their justification is once you run out of stam, you just go and do some PvP matches. Like that's their whole concept.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna talk about this later with Legends, but for me, I think they were really specifically designed their energy system to work like this because it's capped at what, like 10 energy or something?
10,
Yeah, so it's about 3 hours of
Yeah, so it's you run out of the energy, like you refill your energy in Legends way faster than Dokkan, at least for I think most players. So they want you to use your energy and then wait for 3 hours, then come back, use your energy, wait for 3 hours, then come back and use it again. And it's like in Dokkan, for me at least, I use my stamina for a day and then I wait till the next day and I come back and use it for the next day. Where Legends wants you to come back, 3-4 times a day, where Dokkan's like 1 or 2.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. So.
Also, it should be 3 minutes instead of 5 minutes for the wait time on Dokkan. I feel like 5 minutes is way too long for one energy.
Yeah, the moment they introduced 3 minutes, we're just like, ah, crap, we have to go back to this garbage of 5 minutes right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean 3 minutes, especially because the stam is in conjunction with your rank. So if you're a high ranking player like Goresh, me, we just burn all our energy in the morning and then like burn a little bit at night, and then that's it. Like we only
Yep.
get in the app like maybe 2 times.
Mhm.
But like Legends, you're in every like 2-3 hours if you're trying to be optimal with your energy.
And then
So
especially now with the boost system too, it takes even less time to get your stamina out of there. Like
yeah.
spend it all. So I don't know.
Yeah, energy tickets would be a good quality of life update, especially if you need to farm a Dokkan event or whatever. But yeah, like you said, I totally agree. If I started a new account, unless there's like 3 times or 4 times like story XP, like dude, I'm gonna be just sitting on my ass waiting for Stam to refresh.
Exactly, yeah. That's why I'm saying, like, for new players, it would help a lot to have, like, an energy ticket.
Yeah, no, I agree. I guess that's
Alrighty.
it for Dokkan questions. I guess we can
All right.
transition
Well,
to
why don't we go on
Legends.
over to Dragon Ball Legends then? I'll just update the title real quick because you can change what games technically the stream is supposed to be about. All right. So we're gonna be going on over to Legend stuff now. Gresh is definitely our expert in that. Maybe next time we'll try to snag D Free, but he's kind of busy right now, guys, trying to get his main channel back. Unfortunately, he got it hacked, and so he's in the process of getting that hopefully back very, very soon. So but yeah, so Legends had their big, or we just started their big Black Friday banner. That's basically what we're calling it. That brought in the mostly anticipated Rose Goku Black, and then a very surprise Legends Limited Vegeta. That have definitely given God Key a boost that they, I think, needed.
God Key definitely needed a. I wouldn't really say they needed a boost, but they needed more options.
Yeah, definitely more
Because
options.
the team was good, and I think Rose and the new Vegeta obviously really boosted the team up. But I think more so than that, it actually gives players like more options because on the team, like you really had like 4 core units you were using, and then other than that, you were pretty much if you didn't have those units, you couldn't run the team. Like there weren't that many God Key units in the game, so. I don't know. It also really depended on Whis like super heavily. Like if you didn't have Whis, you literally couldn't play the team like to the best of their potential. But now you don't really need Whis. I still think he's probably optimal on the team, but you could definitely get by without him now.
Well, it doesn't help that Whis was like harder to pull than most of the sparking units. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean like it's really weird to me that they made Whis like so good and they balance like the other units on the team around him because like he was like the core of the team forever, and he still is kind of the core of the team. But you can make by without him now. But I don't know. It's like at least make him easier to pull. It's ridiculous.
it is, yeah. Or at least bring along that that special event that they've had the last couple of times where you can farm up a certain type of extreme unit, and you got like 15.
Oh yeah.
Or yeah, whatever that event was called. But but basically like the last one beforehand, like you get like 4 Team Bardock, extreme units, and then there was one that had like
Yeah,
the
the
all
scout
the
battles.
extreme like cooler and pod Frieza and things like that.
Yeah, those are
So
good.
if they brought that back, I think that would have been really nice.
For Whis, yeah, especially.
For Whis, yeah, especially you'd have the God Key one, so it could include the Whis, the Beerus, the green Zamas, and then somebody else, I guess.
Yeah, the green Zamasi was actually on one of the. Was it? What was that? I think that was like Future or something. He was on like the
It was,
Future.
I think it was
one.
Future, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So he was there, but I mean, Whis is obviously the main one you want. So it's kind of
Right.
weird that they didn't.
But
do
again,
that.
it just gives you more options to make that team that you would want, because basically, if you take out Whis and Beerus and that Zamas, which granted are pretty much only one card, it's basically a sand team, because Rose, Goku Black in this game and any Goku Blacks are counted as sand tags, unlike in Dokkan where they're not. So
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. I mean, the team mostly is Saiyans, the God Key team,
Right.
but it's just their Z abilities are buffing God Key. And I mean, in the
Yep.
future, we're going to be getting. I mean, we have Beerus, who probably is going to be getting a buff because they just showed off his legendary finish.
Yep.
And I
So
can't
I know
imagine they're
Rhyme is
gonna.
jumping for joy right now.
And me too, because I've been advocating for that for like 10 months now. But I can't imagine they would give him a legendary finish and then not buff him, because that literally means that he would be seeing no one would see the legendary finish anyway, so there's no point even doing that. And then the other thing that I see with that too, that gives more evidence that him getting buffed, is he costs the same amount of tickets as Vegito in the shop. So it's like, oh, you spent so much time summoning and like all this hard work paid off, like whatever, grinding stone or crystals. You spent 100,000 crystals. Here you can choose between Beerus and Vegito. Who are you picking? It's like, okay.
Obviously, Beerus, dude. What you mean?
Well, he has to be getting a buff. Like, there's no way they would do that. It makes no sense.
It would make no sense just to all of a sudden just see, hey, Beerus is getting a quote unquote buff. Here's a legendary finish. Oh, you wanted more?
Yeah.
Tough luck.
They could keep the meme though. I feel like it's good
Oh
for them.
my god, keep the meme. Oh boy.
I mean, it brings them attention, right? Buff Beerus always trending.
Yeah, I
Oh my
mean,
God.
well, to me, it seems like they just released Beerus. Like they had the concept of legendary finishes ready, but they didn't give it to Beerus because they needed to get something out, and so I felt like he was always rushed. But
Yeah. Well, back then it wasn't even Legends Limited. It was called Ticket Exclusives, and it was him and then the Gohan were both Ticket Exclusives, and I think they just got rid of that.
They got
'Cause I
major backlash for that. They got
Yeah,
major
people were like
backlash.
super pissed, and then I honestly, looking back at it, I would much rather prefer that than what we have now.
yeah,
Oh god, yeah. I mean, because especially with a lot of the Legends Limited cards, I mean, obviously the rates are garbage for the most part to pull them.
It's horrible.
And then unfortunately, it like I know obviously at 2-star they're still obviously they're all amazing cards in their own way, but it does kind of suck that in order to get that double buff for these Legends Limited cards, you have to pull 2. And unless you are super lucky, like Riku over here, who just he pulled 4 copies or something like that of the Vegeta, but more than Rose, you only
crazy.
get like part of the buff essentially. Which again, I understand that there's still obviously a really amazing cards. I have Vegeta at 2-star myself. He's still really good. He's still really powerful and everything. But it would be nice to have that double buff and not just simply the 1 buff. So
Yeah, I mean, it took me 60,000 crystals to pull 1 Vegeta.
oh my god.
Can we get F's in the chat, boys?
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
Goresh.
F's in the
F in the
chat
chat
for
right
our
now
man
for
Goresh
Goresh.
right here, man. Hey, just think of it this way. Only 40 more K crystals until you can get that Beerus copy.
Yeah, and then I get
Or
my
6-star.
6-star beer.
Oh my gosh.
But basically, like, you look at all the legendary finish units. You look at Super Vegeta. Look, he has a 7-star buff.
Oh my god.
Who else
Oh.
has that? That's like 17 copies that you need to get him to like. What?
Yeah.
Who's getting that?
I've seen a couple.
So have I, but it's like what? That's like literally like the most pay to win thing I've ever seen.
Oh, it is. It is. It is the definition of pay to win. Hey, get a 7-star Vegito and you get a special 7-star buff.
But ever since Super Vegeta came out, they started doing this thing where they like these legendary finish units have been getting like ridiculous Z abilities. Like Super Vegeta, what is it, strike attack and defense for fusion warriors, and then at 7-star he gets a HP buff to fusion warriors, and then
Yep.
the Namek Goku gives to Saiyans and Super Saiyans both offenses.
Yep.
And then I think the Super Saiyan 3 Goku gives both defenses to Saiyans, and now this Vegeta is giving strike attack and defense to Vegeta family and God Key.
And God Key.
I don't know. It's a little bit over the top, if you ask me. Like, I was actually thinking about making a video on this, like just to talk about this one topic. But for me, if I was just developing like the game and like designing like the balance and stuff, I would not make Legends Limited units be like these super top tier units that are the best units in the game. I would much rather prefer that these Legends Limited units are more like top 75 percentile, top 80 percentile, maybe like, you know, they're top, but like they're high S tier, I guess, but they're not like game breakingly overpowered like Super Vegito is.
Right.
And then
yeah,
maybe you can give them like, you know, unique animations. Obviously keep legendary finishes because those are cool. they'll be really cool units, but they're not going to be the best of the best because it's
Right.
just unrealistic to get them that high. And it's
Right.
really, really demoralizing if you're like a free-to-play player and you know you don't have a chance of pulling them.
Yeah, or
Especially
like
in a game
or like
that's
you finally save up those tickets and you're like, oh, I can get my one copy. 16
yeah,
more to go.
especially in a game that's PvP oriented because you're going to be running into people who have 5-star Super Vegeta, have 5-star Super
Yeah.
Saiyan Blue Vegeta, and it's just it instantly puts you at a disadvantage. And I understand that that's what they need to be doing, to sustain the game to make money, but
Yeah.
at
Well,
what
and-
point is it excessive?
Right. And one thing I've noticed that they haven't done, and maybe this was because of the anniversary at the time, is that they haven't done the red Vegito for those other units. Like red Vegito, if you 7-star him, just boost they gave fusions a free buff. And then on top of that, a buff that also, when you get, what was it, the 5-star and 7-star buffs for the red Vegito, was that, I think, extra HP boost or the extra boost to Vegito named units. So
Yeah.
Crazy.
they haven't done that with anything. I mean, could you imagine getting some kind of free, I don't know, Rage Trunks or something like that with the LL Vegeta that we just got, and he buffs Future, and they had put LL Vegeta in Future. I know he's not, but if they had put him in there, and then, oh, by the way, at 7 stars, because he's a free card now, he also buffs the Vegeta family's HP or even defense, because that's the one thing God Key still lacks is, a good defensive option. And all of a sudden, this free Trunks just does that. So
yeah, I think actually that's what the red Vegeta did for Fusions, because Fusions didn't really have a good defensive option besides like Gotenks, but no one was Gotenks. So
and then
that
in comes
really
Red Vegeta, and my Red Vegeta, he is tanked, some rising rushes quite often. So
yeah, and also like
he's crazy.
The fact that he is buffing Vegito named units, and we're obviously going to be getting like Vegito Blue. We're going to be getting like more Vegito units in the future than just like that are in the game because Vegito sells money, like he prints money basically.
Right.
So when Vegito Blue comes out, guess who's going to be buffing him? Red Vegito.
Oh god,
So
that's gonna be
that's always going to be a factor. Yeah,
that's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be pretty crazy. So, all right. So then, going off of the Rose and the LL Vegeta, they actually introduced gacha tickets / gacha coins. It seems to have had mixed reactions from the community. It seems. Goresh, what have you seen from a lot of? Because I know a lot of your viewers watch your videos for the Legends content. What have your viewers been saying in terms of like the comment section or on Twitter or anything?
I mean, pretty much what everyone else has been saying. It's way too excessive. But I kind of like to think about it from the perspective of, would you rather have this or nothing?
Right.
Because like before this, we didn't have anything, and like that sucked, right? Like you spent crystals on a banner. You pulled the units you already had. You didn't get anything you wanted, and the only thing you walk away with is like Z medals, which is talk about useless.
Z medals are so useless. They need to update that.
Yeah, but it's like now you get these tickets. You can buy some pretty good stuff, but obviously it takes a lot of multis. Like they put
But
the
here's the thing I've noticed of that. What if you you save up for like a year to buy a specific unit, but by the time that time comes, the unit on the thing is no longer useful.
Well, I assume they'll be updating that to the exchange shop to have like good units there, because like right now they have Yellow Gohan in there. They have Super Vegito in there, who are like both like insanely good right now. So I assume maybe like, I don't know, every few months or whatever, they'll be updating that to, I don't know, maybe like in a month or two, they'll put Rose in there. They'll put the LL Vegeta in there.
Or whenever
people
they
to
come
purchase.
back, kind of like how Dokkan does it, where the very first banner they're out, they're not on there, but then the second time they come back, then they're on there, kind of thing.
Yeah, as long as they update it, I feel like it's gonna be fine. But if they don't update it for like a long time, then I don't see the point in it at all.
Yeah, I mean, they will definitely update it. I think they're taking a lot of the inspiration from this from Dokkan.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my two thoughts on the quote unquote gotcha tickets. So Dokkan and Legends are doing this. It's the similar thing to other gotcha games where it's a pity system.
Mm-hmm.
But usually the pity system revolves on that banner specifically. So like Epic 7 is another game I play. It's if you want to summon for a character, the pity system is if you do 120 summons, you at least get the character if you don't. If you do get the character before the 120, it resets itself back to 120. So there's always like a safety net. What Dokkan and Legends are doing, they're doing that, except they're making it universal so that at least with Dokkan, any Dokkan Fest banners you summon on, you'll get Dokkan Fest coins. So down the road, you can always buy that character later on, right? But you won't get it on the initial banner because they don't want to give you the pity system for the new unit out the gate because they're doing it in a universal fashion. So I feel like Legends is doing that as well, which is why the cost of entry is so high. It's what is it, 100 multis?
Yeah.
Like it's insane, but the concept is it's going to be around forever. Compared to other games where their pity system is it's per banner, so you got to whale your ass off on that banner that week to get the guarantee. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's a lot more friendly and a lot in the end. But again, the cost of entry is high, but that's because it's a universal thing that it'll go throughout all the banners.
Yeah. Or the way I can also see it is, you know, you could maybe half whale, kind of like how Goresh did. How you said you took 60k CCs in order to get your first Vegeta.
Yeah.
And now you can kind of hold on to those for any kind of future LR banners that come around where it's like, oh, I wasn't able to grab this. But again, that does go back to Speedy's thing about if they update it frequently. If they don't, then it's useless almost in that particular regard, at least. So
Yeah, like I never pulled the Super Saiyan 3 Legends Limited Goku, so maybe if they updated it for him, I'd go back and grab one copy of him.
right, exactly. So you don't want defreeze luck
Yo,
on that.
just 60 more Chrono Crystals, man. 60k more Chrono Crystals, you got it.
Yeah,
Easy.
that's just a little bit more farming the story. That's it.
Yeah, really. All right, so then obviously though the big news that came out with Legends was the 2.0, the big change that everyone is, hoping is gonna, fix a lot of things and change of things and everything from a new battle system to a guild system, co-op modes, balance changes, you name it. What do you guys think? Do you think they can deliver on it? Do you think it's gonna fall flat? Do you think it's gonna be in the middle? Thoughts?
So for me, I'm most excited for the new battle system. That's something they posted about on Twitter. They didn't really go into depth too much during the video. But the Twitter post mentioned that they were going to try and crack down on the people who are playing extremely passively.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is basically like in high level play right now, the meta is basically just to stay at the maximum distance and then like just try and vanish. We call it perfect vanish, which basically means you vanish at the exact time where you could immediately start a combo without any consequences.
Right.
And there really isn't a penalty for doing that. It just you can get baited by a tap blast, but it's not really that big of a deal. You can get out of that really easily. So basically, matches right now are people just both players standing at max distance and just like fishing for like these vanishes to like let them get the advantage and start their combos first. And it's really boring. It sucks. And I think they realize that, and that's why they're putting out this new battle system to hopefully counteract that. And we'll see how it goes. I think a lot of that also is due to the legendary finish Namek Goku, because a lot of people hate playing against that unit.
Oh, yep.
So we'll see. For me, that's the most exciting thing. But I'm definitely excited for the guilds too. Definitely excited for co-op.
I want to see how that works. Hopefully, lag does not ruin that part.
I think that's what people are really worried about for that. Yeah, we'll see.
I'm so surprised that Legends doesn't have dedicated servers yet. Still.
So I heard that would not help. That would not fix
Really?
anything. Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Well, the thing I find when I heard about all this stuff, like the new battle system, I completely agree with Goresh that it's very boring right now to play online because again, the meta right now is just to hang into the back and try to do that kind of stuff, and it gets really really boring. The guild system I think definitely has some potential there. I'm definitely excited to see what they do with that. Co-op mode, while I think is a cool concept, and I think a lot of people when they see co-op, they're like, oh yeah, who wouldn't want co-op, play with your friends, all this kind of stuff. lag is the one thing I am definitely worried about, because as somebody who lives over in Japan, the moment I see someone's name playing online that is not in kanji, essentially, the Japanese language, I know I'm in for a rough lag fest, essentially, when it comes to online. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely worried about that. So we'll have to see what they can do. And then obviously I'm assuming some balance changes will be coming with this big update. Who would you guys want to see updated, since they periodically update a certain amount of characters? Besides
I'll go
Varys.
last. You guys can go first.
Okay.
Godku for me.
God, the red one, Red Gaku.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I don't play nearly enough to have any thought of who should be buffed.
Okay.
But honest, I think the good thing about Legends, I'll just make a quick point, is that they do buff old units to be in the current meta, make them like strong in their own ways. So I give them a lot of credit for that.
Yep. Two cards I really hope that they'll finally buff is Green Instant Transmission Goku. I think he definitely needs one. And I hope, obviously the big one is the red Super Saiyan Goku that's been in the game since launch. It'd be nice to see him get a buff. And then has Red Trunks got a buff yet? I don't think he has. I know Red Vegeta did.
He really needs one.
Okay, yeah. So I think Red Trunks would be a great opportunity to kind of help bring Hybrid Saiyans back into the mix. I know this new Green Gohan kind of did that.
Yeah, the Legends Road one, yeah.
But you still mostly just see Goku family teams, or in case of with the Yellow Gohan, the movie bosses team or the movie era teams.
Yeah, so
I think Red Trunks would be a great opportunity to finally kind of really buff that, and kind of bring them kind of back into the meta, I guess. And then obviously whatever Red Goku's gonna do. So
I have a few. I have six.
Grab your popcorn,
but...
folks. Grab your popcorn, folks. It's gonna be a while.
No, because one of them is Beerus, right? And I think that's
Right.
pretty much guaranteed at this point, because they did show off as a legendary fish. We talked about this a bit earlier, but it's like they're not going to not buff Beerus at this point. So
Right.
I think he is definitely going to be one of them. Other ones are pretty obvious, except for one. I mean, Red Goku from the beginning is going to get something. Dynamic Spirit Bomb Goku, who's by far the worst sparking in the game, who was available via, I think it's like rare metals or something.
Oh,
He needs
yeah,
a
those
buff.
rare metals that
The blue
everyone
one?
should have, and he's just been sitting in everybody's box.
Yeah, so him. Red Trunks, we talked about him. Blue Broly, who gets one shot by everything. Who else? And then my last one, I think, is going to be like a little bit of a surprise, but I think Deborah really needs something. He has no teams.
Aside from
He has
blue,
no tags.
yeah, he's just blue, yeah.
I mean, he holds a green card, which is really good, and I think a lot of people. The only reason why people ever use him on teams is because he does hold a green card. If you ever, I mean, I don't know why you use him over game, because they serve the same purpose, but they could make him interesting. Like they could, maybe give him like a super powerful buff for like Mono Blue to maybe try and promote that team a little bit. It's not really ever used. But I don't know. Like holding a green card is really powerful and unique. So maybe they could do something with Deborah. I mean, people think I've seen a lot of Japanese players think he's the worst unit in the game.
I don't know if I'd say he's the worst unit in the game. I mean, he's at least a good bench. So
well, for Mono Blue, right? Which is why I'm saying
Blue,
like
right.
that team doesn't work ever. So
right. Well, I mean, the only time I've seen again Mono, yeah, you're right. Mono Blue doesn't really work. The only time you ever really see a quote unquote blue team is someone who's mixed up with Yellow Hit, because he buffs both yellow and blue. So you're gonna see it's actually you mostly see yellow, and then you see one or two blue units in there. So
yeah, I feel like that he could work on there, I guess.
yeah, but like you said, yeah. Other than that, so maybe they do that, or maybe they introduce some kind of new category for like I don't know, Ultimate Evil, or something else in that realm that he can kind of be the start to making that team, or something like that.
Yep, definitely.
All right. So I think that's it in terms of what we've had for Legends. I mean, we're definitely gonna find out more on Legends once this big update comes, because I'm sure there's gonna be stuff that people find and be like, oh, well, they didn't advertise this, but we're gonna find this. So we'll definitely have to pick this up next week when we do next week's podcast. But do you guys have anything else to add in?
No, I think we could just go to questions, really. I mean, unless you guys have anything to add.
No,
I personally don't. No.
no.
Okay.
No,
So we pulled
okay.
some questions. Oh, good.
No, I was gonna say the guild system is gonna be interesting because it's gonna be. I'm curious to see how they're gonna implement, and I'll just say that for now until we see more information.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think our first question actually has to do with that.
Okay. So we got our first question comes from Minax. How do you guys think the guild system will impact the health of the game, as a main issue everyone can agree is the server? Also, do you guys think a stamina system remake is going to come with this update?
So from what we know, the guild system is. I think it's gonna have to tie into PvP in some way. Like, I know there's rewards for like which guilds are doing really well in PvP and stuff like that. So I think it's gonna tie into like seasonal rewards, like we see right now with individual PvP. Like, you get certain rewards depending on how high you ranked. I think that's gonna come into play with guilds as well. We don't really know much other than that because we have that screenshot, right, that came out I think yesterday. They have like one of those like coming soon things in the game that pops up whenever the day resets or whatever.
Oh yeah, it's in the
So
news right now. Yeah.
yeah, we sort of got that sneak peek for it. But other than that, we literally know like nothing. Like, we don't even know how many people can be in a guild.
Yeah, are they
So
gonna limit it to somebody, only 5 people? Are they gonna limit it to 100 people? How big are these guilds gonna be? Is it just gonna be mediocre rewards, and it's just more of a fun thing to interact with others, or like you said, we really
yeah.
don't know much.
So I mean, in relation to like the server issues in terms of like lag and stuff, I don't know if that's really going to be a bigger impact on the guild system than what it already is on regular PvP. I feel like it's going to be just sort of a similar, thing. This is what I'm thinking. Because for what I expect the guild system to be, is you'll have like your individual players playing PvP, and then the guild rank will be like an aggregate amount of like everyone's, I guess, average rank or whatever. Um, I guess you would need like a certain amount of minimum players for that to count, because you can't just have one guy and then like he's rank 1 and then that guild wins.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so something like that. I feel like if you have at least like 20 members in your guild, and it'll take the average rank or your average RP or whatever, and that's your guild rank. I don't think they're going to actually be like specific modes for this thing, but more so like it's sort of like a categorization sort of feature.
I
What I'm
can see
thinking.
that, yeah. I mean, I guess the only thing I would personally love for them to add to online to at least alleviate some of the inevitable lag that you're going to get in an online mobile PvP game is give us a filter to allow us to say, hey, I want to face people from only this area. Obviously, it won't work perfectly all the time. You still will probably get matched up sometimes with people from other areas. But I would personally love to be able to say, hey, I only want to face people from Asia basically, and not Europe, because that just gets those matches are unplayable. They really are. So I think if they'd at least introduce something like that, it would, take away some of the pains.
Yeah, I could see that.
All right, so the next question we've got is from HackerBoy1120. Since we're getting this 2.0 update, any timetable on when we might see SSJ3 Shallot?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much guaranteed at this point. They talked about that during the video on the Japanese video. I don't think they talked about that on the English one, because they had the Japanese voice actor for Shallot over there, and they were like, "Oh, like it looks like they're teasing like Shallot going Super Saiyan 3 soon." And then they talked about a little bit about like possibly after that, because I know there's people who are thinking like, "Oh, is he going to be Super Saiyan God or is he going to be Super Saiyan 4?" There's like two split paths. So there was a little bit of discussion about that. But I think definitely in this big update, because every time we've seen a massive update, Shallot has gone to the next level. Like we saw with the original one, he went Super Saiyan. That was when Red Gogeta released, right, with Janemba.
Right.
And the second massive update, quote unquote, was the anniversary, and that's when he went Super Saiyan 2. And they've been teasing in the story mode, Super Saiyan 3 is coming, and it just so happens it's coinciding with another massive update. So I expect Super Saiyan 3 to come out this month in December. So
Right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, I would assume so. Just whenever the next big update is, or whenever they decide to release it, we'll definitely get it. Just we don't know exactly when we're gonna get it. So
Yep.
all right. So next question comes from Demille, if I'm reading that correctly.
It's like LL DeMille.
Yeah, Demille. Okay. What can we expect Legends to nerf in the new battle system?
Like I said earlier, the biggest thing that they said they were going to nerf is like playing passively and just like backing up the whole time. But that's what we know in terms of like what I think they should nerf. I know they're buffing. They said they're going to buff tackle. So I don't know what that means, but in terms of what they're nerfing, like I don't know. Maybe they're going to try and nerf sidestep again. They've nerfed it 4 times already, so I don't know how much more they can do.
Right.
I don't know. That's all I really can say for now.
All right. I'm going through the chat right now, looking at some other questions. I don't know if you guys have pulled up any other on Twitter.
There was one more question in the thing.
Yeah, Minimax777 says question about regions restrictions for guild system.
Okay, so it means like this. So do we think that there will be like region restrictions? Like, so for example, if I'm playing in the U.S., am I going to be able to have someone who plays in like Japan in my guild?
I think that's what they're trying to get at. Yeah.
I think definitely, because like the whole point of this game is that there's one version of the game, and I don't see why they would try and limit that in any way. So like, if you're playing in the Netherlands and you have a guild, and someone in the U.S. wants to join your guild, like that, I don't see why that would be an issue.
I would hope that isn't an issue. I mean, it was funny because I remember during the 1 year anniversary, remember those collecting the Dragon Ball like friend code scanner things or whatever.
Oh yeah,
at the very beginning, like you could only do it with people on your friends list, and it was like you had like 2 minutes or something like that to snag the code or whatever. I was just like, who made this? And then they went back in, if I remember correctly, and they kind of fixed it. Like almost anyone, you could grab anybody's, if I remember correctly, or
yeah. There was like some problem with it. I remember it got fixed somehow, and it was a big mess. But I think
it was a
hopefully it won't be that bad.
Gigantic, mess when that happens. So hopefully that doesn't happen with the guilds. I mean, yeah, I could, there's probably gonna be some kind of, thing that makes it kind of, weird at first, but hopefully.
The only thing I can think of it for them region locking guilds would be the co-op mode. If in the co-op mode you are only limited to guild members in your friends list, then I mean, if I'm playing with Talon, we're gonna have lag, So I could see maybe that being a justification, but they could just put a disclaimer that where you can have friends from all over the world in your guild, but if you're going to play with them, you may experience some lag. Like I just put that in there and be done with it.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, at this point, from what I understand, just from what I've been hearing, they're trying to like fix the lag, and they obviously know it's an issue. Because even for like JP players have a lot less problems with lag, just because a lot of the JP player base connects and plays matches with other JP players, and they're very close to each other. So there's a lot less lag going on that side of the game. But there are also instances where JP players are matched up with people from other countries, and that's a pretty big issue because it's very noticeable in terms of lag. So they know it's a problem, and I've heard that dedicated servers are not the solution because it would not help this specific problem. So I think they're exploring other options at this point, and hopefully they can, sort of give us an update soon because I hate playing with lag.
Yeah, I mean,
pretty sure everyone does.
Yeah, I think you watch him too, Talon. Maximilian dude, the fighting game guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he mentioned a good thing. He did a video and I watched it. It was pretty good. It explained why lag in fighting games developed in Japan, their netcode is trash. There's 2 reasons. One, they always want to develop their own netcode, like in-house. They never want to license outside netcode. But 2, when they even test it, they're testing it from like the southern part of Japan with someone in the northern part of Japan, which is the equivalent of me in Southern California going to somebody like D3 in NorCal. So like to them, they're testing the farthest differences in the country, and they don't have much lag compared to actually testing it like in real world scenarios. So I just know that like some Japanese companies, they just don't understand the concept of like, oh wow, there's lag outside in the world. Like that doesn't make any sense. Our tests here in Japan comes up clean.
Well, and it doesn't help that internet here in Japan is I think I can safely say this. It's definitely better than most other countries have. I mean, granted, obviously Japan's a very small country, and it goes back to what Max had said in that video about how you're only testing from basically one end of California to the other end of California because Japan's basically the size of California. But a lot of other places in the world don't really have that great of internet.
Yeah.
Or any kind of connection, especially just in other areas. So, yeah, they seem to be blind to that, thinking, oh, well, if we have this good, fiber optics internet everywhere, then well, the rest of the world must have it, right? Not really the case. So
Yeah.
so-
Also the by the way, does it sound better?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Also,
yeah.
also the fact that in Japan you can connect to Wi-Fi pretty much anywhere. Whereas I know in the U.S. they don't have anything even remotely close to that. So people are a lot of times playing on 3G, 4G,
Oh
and
god,
it's not
3G.
as good as Wi-Fi. So I mean, yeah, I mean like in Japan, because you go anywhere there's Wi-Fi.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, I cringe every time if I'm on the trains taking the subway or something, and all of a sudden my phone will switch to 3G for like a couple of minutes, and I'm just like, oh god, 3G, what is this? Because I've just been so used now to this super fast internet on, whether I'm at home or just out and about, or even again just being on 4G, and I think 5G is coming next year here in Tokyo.
Yeah,
or something.
5G.
We actually have 5G in New York already, so that's cool.
Yeah. So
Lucky.
it's just and Speedy over here is just going like,
Bro, I'm on that 4G right now. Hold up. Slow down. I'm not.
I was gonna make a joke about 2G, but hey,
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I mean, I think they understand now there's complaints with the lag, and I think they're trying to find ways to mitigate it. And I agree with Goresh, like having dedicated servers is not going to be a solution for a game like Legends.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's probably gonna be one of those things, unfortunately, that will take quite a bit of time, where they're really gonna have to start testing. Okay, instead of testing from Hokkaido, which is North Japan, to I don't know, Fukuoka, which is considered Southwest Japan, let's now try it from Tokyo to,
Someone in Seoul, South Korea, for example.
yeah, someone in Seoul in South Korea, and then after that we'll do Tokyo to Singapore, and then after that we'll do Tokyo to just they'll have to do that, and that's gonna take time. I do know though, if you guys even remember this, remember that Microsoft event thing that from what was it, a year ago? It was back when Legends was first shown off, and they did a battle between, I think it was Tokyo and San Francisco.
It was a Google Play event.
Yeah, the Google Play event. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was a showcase of the tech where they're like, hey, we don't need dedicated servers to connect someone from Japan to in San Francisco.
Right.
It turned out to be the best case scenario.
Yeah, I think. I mean, well, plus, I mean, they're only playing. They probably tested it like a ton of times, but hopefully they can start doing things, actually testing things like that. Say, okay, let's test Tokyo to San Francisco again, and then let's push it further and see if we can, get the kinks out and everything. So.
Yeah, and I think just going off of just sort of culminating and everything we've talked about, there's a really big misconception in the Legends community that they're not doing anything about the connection issues, and they're just like blowing it off or whatever. And I think that's definitely not the case. Like they know it's a problem, and they're not just gonna blow it off because that doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. I would just give them. I would give them. Even me, like I'm super critical of the game, and that's not because I don't like the game. Because obviously my entire channel is basically based off of Legends. I just really think the game has a lot of potential to get a lot better. So I'm pressing them to ramp things up, try and put in their best effort to make the game better.
Yeah.
But from what I've been hearing, and I'm close to a lot of people who have connections with the developers and stuff like that. They are actively trying to search for solutions to try and fix these issues. So I mean, not really
My-
productive to like say things like, "Oh, they're not trying" and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I would just cut them a little bit more slack in that
Yeah,
respect.
and I'm assuming they're not gonna update us every week by saying, "Hey guys, update on the the connection issue. We haven't found anything yet," or "Hey, we think we found this, but it's not very promising." Right? It's like, what's the point of saying that, right? I will say though, maybe every few months say like, "Hey guys, just letting you guys know we are still actively testing this. We'll get back to you as soon as we have an update." And I think just saying though that one sentence can probably give some hope
Alleviate some of
instead of just doing the Dokkan thing, which is silence, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
If there's one thing to take away from Dokkan, don't do the silence thing when it comes to that type of stuff. So be a little more active with your community, and it will go a long ways. I think would be my advice to them. So
Agreed.
so. All right. Well, I think with that, then we've been going for almost an hour, a couple hours, an hour and 40 minutes almost now. So I think this is probably a good place to kind of end it for now, and we'll have next week. And I think Goresh, you're staticky again. So
No,
perfect time
that's
to end it.
That's
Oh, it's Nolar. Okay, Nolar's getting static, so it's a perfect time to end it then, because everyone's going static now. So if you guys have been watching this with us live, thank you for everyone that came in. Glad you guys could ask some questions over on Twitter and we could answer some of that. And let us know your thoughts if you liked this live version or if you prefer that we just simply make the video and then we'll post it next weekend. Let us know your thoughts. I'll try to put a little poll in the video once it's uploaded to YouTube properly. Next week it'll be on Speedy's channel, right?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so Speedy will have next week. So again, let us know your thoughts down below in the comments or in the chat right now. Do you prefer it live? Do you prefer it to be on just a video format? Again, let us know your thoughts down below. Again, sorry we couldn't obviously get to every single question. There were a lot of questions just rolling over into stuff we had already talked about or things that we had already mentioned, or people just asking the same question over and over again. So yeah, we'll have to go from there. So anyway, guys, any last little comments you want to mention, or are we all good to go?
I think this was a great turnout, especially for being our first live podcast. It was actually very good. Longest podcast we've had so far, an hour and like 40 minutes. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. If you guys want to see, like I said, Talon said, more live stuff, let us know. Or do you guys want to just revert back into the just uploading the podcast?
All right,
you can do that as well.
And obviously, again, this will be live on the channel. The podcast, I'm going to add this into the podcast playlist, which I think the rest of you guys have your playlist as well, and you add it in every week when this is updated. So yeah, so you guys should be able to see it all there. So anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by as always, and we'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace out.
Take care.
See ya.